Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Glotzer, and I'm the chair of the Chemical Engineering Department at the University of Michigan. I have the great privilege of welcoming you all today to our virtual celebration in honor of the outstanding accomplishments of the Chemical Engineering graduating class of 2021 and our Winter 2020 graduates. I also want to acknowledge and thank all of the parents, friends, and loved ones who have helped support our students in their academic journey who also join us today. Let me begin by stating the obvious, which is that the past year has brought unprecedented challenges, especially for our students. And I speak on behalf of our entire department when I say how incredibly proud we are of each and every one of you. I hope that you've learned during your time here that becoming a chemical engineer is, at its core, all about learning how to approach and solve complex problems. And that requires creativity, inclusivity, perseverance, and flexibility, which each of you have so clearly demonstrated during your time here. The past year has been an extraordinary time for all of us and for humanity. However, it's only one of many grand societal challenges that you'll face as you move into the world. And you will help us engineer solutions to those problems using all of the different approaches and tools that you've mastered as chemical engineers. You are members of a unique community of scholars and engineers that have been privileged to attend a world-class university, to engage with other brilliant students and engineers like yourselves, to challenge your minds, expand your worldviews, and aspire to, well, anything you wish. You've worked really hard and accomplished something out of reach of most people on this planet. Now, as Michigan graduates, you enter the world at an almost unimaginable moment in history. We need the unique knowledge and skills you each possess now more than ever. Remember that within every crisis are opportunities. Opportunities to overcome adversity, opportunities to do things in new ways, to create new processes and products, opportunities to rebuild, improve, and make equitable all aspects of our societal infrastructures, like our healthcare and energy infrastructures, our food distribution network, and our ability to rapidly scale up a new vaccine, to name just a few. Opportunities to envision and, as Michigan graduates, engineer a better world. The rest of this century belongs to all of you, and I know it is in good hands. We wish that we were all in the same physical space, sharing handshakes and hugs before you journey onward in your careers. I promise we'll find a way to celebrate together when it's safe to do so. Until then, remember that your new alma mater is only a phone call, an email, a tweet, or a Zoom meeting away. We're all so proud of everything you've overcome and accomplished while with us, and we can't wait to watch what you do next. So congratulations to our graduates and newest Michigan Chemical Engineering alumni, and of course, go blue. In the next portion of our program, you'll first hear remarks from Professor Lola Eniola-Adefeso, our Vice Chair for Graduate Education. Then Professor Greg Thurber will share more about the inspiring work of our graduate students around the department's diversity, equity, inclusion efforts, followed by a reading of all the names of all of our graduates.
It's a pleasure to welcome everyone to this event to honor our graduating students. It's always the best part of my job, really, to see you all come in as first-year students, eager and easily excitable, yet incredibly naive, which of course I think is one of the my favorite attribute of a PhD student. But to fast forward to a day that you're graduating this moment, to see how far you've come, at the other end of the graduating pipeline, you're older, wiser, literally, and importantly, the expert in your domain. For some of you PhD graduates, the surprising and gratifying feeling of now knowing more than your research advisor, that's a priceless feeling. But I have to say to this particular graduating class, a special congratulations, kudos. You completed a graduate degree during what is the most difficult period we've seen in all our lifetimes. You did it. You finished. Take a moment or two or more to let that sink in. You did it. COVID suck it. Hopefully, this will be the last graduation where we have to reference this pandemic and the associated stress, anxiety, and tragedy and destruction that we've witnessed in the last year. But there is a bright spot, even with COVID. For the first time in our lifetime, my lifetime, the world has a renewed appreciation for the contribution of engineering research. to healthcare in the way many of our labs stepped up and pivoted research in the middle of the pandemic to healthcare in ways we generated antibodies, technology for sterilization, therapies for immunomodulation, and so on. The world will now increasingly look to us, to you all, to innovate solutions for many more global challenges ahead, to bring solutions to the environmental concerns in clean water, healthcare, global warming, access to alternative energy. I have no doubt that you all will rise to the challenge. I only ask that whatever you do, whatever technology you create, that you strive always to make it equitable. No longer do we want engineering decisions that leads to poisoning of a group of people due to their social economic status like we saw in Flint, or technology that only work for a small set of privileged Americans like we saw with the pulse oximeter. Make sure you are working to make technology that you are creating work for all Americans. This, of course, means that you, in any professional space you inhabit, that you must pay attention and look for inclusion of diverse people. Quite simply put, diversity drives innovation, and only when we have diverse people, and by that I mean people of different ethnic background, racial background, gender, socioeconomic status, LGBTQ plus, religious background, and so on and so forth. We need to make sure that those diverse people can be at the table, and only then we can optimize for the best solution to address our global challenges. With diverse teams, the sky is the limit. And I'm optimistic that you, in our Michigan engineering graduates, that you are leaders and best, and you can do amazing things. And so I wish you well as you take your next step. I say this with all my heart. Congratulations, and go blue.
Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Greg Thurber. Congratulations to all the students graduating this year. What you have accomplished over the past few years is a remarkable achievement and an experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. As the graduates reflect back on their time at Michigan, we wanted to take this opportunity to recognize those students that make Michigan Chemical Engineering such a strong department in the labs, the classroom, and beyond. First, the Chemical Engineering Department wants to celebrate the community building work of our graduate students this past year through KEGS and peer mentoring. These efforts were both more critical and more complicated than ever due to the pandemic and associated restrictions. We thank our students for their dedicated efforts this past year. Every year, KEGS, the Chemical Engineering Graduate Society, works hard to enhance the experience of our students, organizing social events, discussing relevant topics during grad chat sessions, putting on the Graduate Research Symposium, and recruiting some of the most talented students from across the country and around the world to continue the great tradition of Michigan chemical engineering. We thank them for their continued efforts in building community, coordinating events, and maintaining the lifeblood of the department. Finally, we extend our thanks to the graduate peer mentors, helping our first-year students navigate the stresses, excitement, and hard work of graduate school. And now for a special part of the program, highlighting the ChE diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts over this past year. The Chemical Engineering Department wants to celebrate the extraordinary efforts of our graduate students this past year to advocate, organize, and launch new initiatives to support diversity, equity, and inclusion within and beyond our Chemical Engineering Department. A note that the participants listed on the next slides include only chemical engineering graduate students based on the nature of this commencement program. We are also grateful to the efforts of department faculty, staff, and undergraduate students who have supported these initiatives. Now, on to the celebration of our graduate students. Importantly, these students kickstarted and led these new DEI initiatives, and they inspire the entire ChE community with their passion, dedication, and hard work towards improving diversity, equity, and inclusion. First, we recognize the group focused on department composition and culture, with the goal of building diversity and inclusivity through programming and transparency. Some notable achievements this past year: increasing the transparency and efforts in student admission, organizing the first DEI seminar, a custom department lecture by Professor Alfred Young, Jr. The students also aided in reinstituting the Michigan ChE chapter, the National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers, and helped highlight the many contributions to ChE from Black scientists. Next, the committee leading efforts to improve graduate student mental health through destigmatization and education. Graduate school alone has unique stressors and challenges, and the pandemic made these all the more acute. Notably, this year, the committee organized 2 department-specific CAPS seminars on systemic racism and mental health. The students also organized efforts for a socially engaged curriculum. This group has the goals of training the students to engage with the social context of engineering problems so they can identify and mitigate harms in marginalized communities caused by engineering decisions. They have made several notable achievements this past year, including inserting social justice problems and learning activities into 3 undergraduate courses. They developed environmental justice modules for fluid mechanics, as well as a means to measure student attitudes. They also developed relationships with other campus groups and centers focused on engineering education. Next, we recognize the Committee on Mentoring and Outreach. These members have the goal of igniting the interest of middle school and high school students to pursue higher education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM fields. They also help build the undergraduate and PhD STEM student pipeline through mentorship. In addition to the ChE graduate students listed, many ChE undergrads and other graduate students outside the department helped in this process. This year, they launched Michigan Mentors, Stimulating Success, a middle school and high school mentorship program with Oak Park Schools. The middle school program provides monthly virtual field trips to perform STEM-based experiments in line with the curriculum. The high school program is an after-school discussion about college preparation and STEM applications. It currently has 18 grad student mentors and 20 students mentees signed up. The committee also launched ChE intra-department mentoring for undergraduates interested in graduate school. And thank you to the DEI Steering Committee, which helped organize the many efforts of the graduate students and bridge their efforts with other areas of the department and College of Engineering. Finally, a special thanks goes to the graduating PhD students, who on top of achieving the pinnacle of their formal education, they reached out beyond the lab to increase the opportunities for future generations. Congratulations to John Hemmerling and Kizito Madu, the leaders behind the launch of the high school mentoring arm of Outreach's Stimulating Success efforts. They coordinated with CEDO and Oak Park teachers, parents, and students. They set up an IRB to study the effort, organized detailed semester plans, created marketing and mentoring content material, and recruited and managed the ChE mentors. Also, Emma Purcell, a leader in both the department composition and culture and socially engaged curriculum groups, as well as a mentor in the outreach program. Ben Silcox, who is an active participant in the department composition and culture group, and Kaylee J. Smith, a leader in the outreach and mentoring efforts. Congratulations to these students and congratulations to all the class of 2021.
Thank you, Professor Eniola-Adefeso, for your parting words of wisdom. And thank you to Professor Thurber for sharing all of the outstanding DEI work that our graduate students have helped us accomplish within our department. And more importantly, thank you to each of our graduating students who played a leadership role in this effort. John Hemmerling, Kizito Madu, Emma Purcell, Benjamin Silcox, and Kaylee Smith. Now, graduates and families, I have the honor on behalf of the faculty of the College of Engineering, University of Michigan, to present these candidates for the master's degree in chemical engineering and the PhD in chemical engineering. Representing the authority vested with the Dean by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you your degree. I extend to you our sincere congratulations. And now, Professor Greg Thurber will read the names of our chemical engineering graduates, beginning with the recipients of the master's degree.
I'd like to extend my congratulations to all the graduate students, both master's and PhD. I'd like to first acknowledge those students graduating with a Master's of Science in Engineering. They are Inu Chen, Ethan Ellingbo, Alice Sneha George, Park Huff, Jinwen Luo, Tony Muscat, Silvio Porco, Ruthi Raju, Ziying Tang. Next up, I'd like to announce the names of all the graduates with a PhD in chemical engineering, along with their PhD advisor and dissertation title. First, we have John Timothy Anyanwu. He is advised by Professor Ralph Yang. His dissertation title is Desulfurization of Natural Gas with Nitrogen and Amine Functionalized Adsorbents. Next, we have Tucker Bergen. He was advised by Professor Heather Mays, and his dissertation title is Transition Pathway Perspectives in Molecular Simulations of Enzymes. Next, we have Joseph Chickasee. He is advised by Professor Jennifer Linderman. His dissertation title is Developing Computational and Experimental Models to Improve Oral Drug Product Development and Delivery in the Gastrointestinal Tract. Next, we have Alec Desai. He is advised by Professor Pete Tessier, and his dissertation title is Design and Evolution of Conformational Specific Antibodies Against Amyloid Aggregates. Next up is Mario Gutierrez. He is advised by Professor Lola Eniola, and his dissertation title, The Role of Red Blood Cell Membrane Rigidity on Cellular and Drug Particle Carrier Dynamics in Blood Flow. Next, we have Nahal Habibi. She is advised by Professor Jorg Lahan. Her dissertation title is Engineered Nanoparticle Systems to Overcome Biological Barriers for Nanomedicine. Next is Brett Hill. His research advisor is Professor Fei Wen. He completed his dissertation in Designer Influenza Virus-like Particle Vaccines for Improved Vaccine Production and Efficacy. Next up is Ashita Kara. She is advised by Professor Greg Thurber. Her dissertation title, Engineering Tumor Distribution of Antibody Drug Conjugates. Next, we have Hannah Kim. She is advised by Professor Andre Leonard. Her dissertation title is Tailoring Optical and Thermal Properties of Nanostructured Materials for Passive Radiative Cooling. Next, we have Pongkai Gao. He is advised by Professor Mike Solomon. He completed his dissertation in Engineering Colloidal Microstructures for Functional Properties, Crystals and Gels. Next is Sangmin Lee, advised by Professor Sharon Glotzer. His dissertation title, Assembly Behavior of Hard and DNA Programmable Colloidal Shapes into Complex Crystal Structures. Next is Samuel Leguizamon. He is advised by Professor Timothy Scott. His dissertation title, Information-Directed Hybridization of Abiotic Sequence-Defined Oligomers. Next, we have Kizito Madhu. He is advised by Professors Ted Goodson and Professor Lola Eniola. His dissertation title is Understanding the Optical and Photophysical Properties of Organic and Hybrid Macromolecules and Polymers for Solar Cell Application. Next is Bruna Menezes. She is advised by Professors Greg Thurber and Professor Jennifer Linderman. Her dissertation title is Designing Effective Antibody Drug Conjugates Using an Agent-Based Model to Predict the Complex Pharmacokinetics and Pharmacodynamics. Next is Sarah Owen. She is advised by Professor Sunitha Nagrath, and her dissertation title, Application of Ultra-Low Circulating Biomarkers and single-cell analysis from solid tumors with single-molecule resolution. Next is Emma Purcell. She is advised by Professor Sunitha Nagrath. Her research title is Isolation and Characterization of Circulating Biomarkers to Predict Patient Outcomes in Late-Stage Non-Small Cell Lung Cancer. V.S. Ramasubramani. He is advised by Professor Sharon Glotzer, and his dissertation title, Exploring the Limits of Hard-Shaped Models for Self-Assembly. Next is Naomi Ramasar. Her advisor is Professor Nick Kotoff. Her dissertation title is Engineered Supraparticles and Their Photocatalytic Applications. Nilofar Salehi. Her research advisors are Professor Bob Ziff and Gregory Amadon. Her dissertation title, Developing Computational and Experimental Models to Improve Oral Drug Product Development and Delivery in the Gastrointestinal Tract. Next is Kaylee Smith. She is advised by Professor Sunitha Nagrath. Her dissertation title, High Throughput Isolation and Analysis of Circulating Tumor Cells for Monitoring Cancer. Ben Silcox. He is advised by Professors Levi Thompson and Professor Nirala Singh. His dissertation title, Stability and Cyclability Predictions of Redox Active Organic Molecules for Non-Aqueous Redox Flow Batteries. Zixuan Wang. She is advised by Professor Brian Goldsmith and Professor Nirala Singh. Her dissertation title is Sustainable Catalytic Systems for Ammonia Production. That completes the list of all our master's and PhD students in chemical engineering for 2021. Congratulations to all the students on completing your hard-earned degrees.
For everyone in our virtual audience, please join me in congratulating our graduates. That concludes our program. Thank you for coming. Congratulations and go Blue.